So, hey everybody, to my talk. It's about internationalization. Really happy to be here and to share our thoughts on challenges on the topic. Who am I? Um, oh, I'm head of e-commerce of a German solution partner. I got all the certifications, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. We used a different font that is not available on the computer over there, so I apologize for that, but I hope it won't be much of a problem. So, who is Flagbit? We are a German gold solution partner. We got a lot of certifications, and we try to deliver quality shops to our customers. This is a part of our team. We used to do a couple of adventure runs, and the guy in the white shirt in the bottom, he's one of our customers. So we are based in a small town in Germany called Karlsruhe. We got 40 employees right now, or 40 to 50 employees. And we had around 150 successful Magento projects up to now. So why would anybody want to do internationalization? So obviously the trick about it is that you can go abroad and have a new market to sell your products to new customers. So that's an uplift to more profit. And we can look at several markets right now. So if you have a look at Spain right now, the total amount of e-commerce volume in Spain summed up to $18.5 billion, and it's going to be growing until the end of 2017 by 51% to almost 30 billion. But that's an impressive number. So let's have a look at a couple of markets that might be interesting to Spanish merchants. For example, the European Union. The market size already is much larger, but it'll grow roughly 53% to almost $500 million in 2017. And that sounds quite a lot. So let's look at other places in the world. First of all, the US, $350 billion in 2015, going to be almost $500 million in 2018, so plus 41%. South America, obviously for Spanish merchants, a huge market because of the language, for example. It's going to be like double the size of Spain right now, and it's going to grow a little faster than the European and the American markets. But let's have a look at Asia, and Asia is quite a different story. Right now, it's almost the same size as the European Union, but it's going to grow around 180% until 2017. It's going to grow larger than $1 billion until 2017. And let's have a look at the one giant in Asia, which is obviously China, and they sum up to more than $500 million this year, and they're going to grow to over $1 billion in 2018, so 80% growth. So that sounds like a good thing to do, right? If you have a look at the worldwide numbers, it's growth all over the place. And last week we were in Switzerland, and we had this nice presentation by the Netcom Swiss, which is like the Switzerland Association for E-commerce. And they had a study where they checked the willingness of persons to shop cross-border across different countries. And if you have a look at, for example, Switzerland, 66%, Italy, 58%, UK, and in Germany, slightly lower because you get a lot of products in e-commerce of local stores. But a lot of countries do have promising numbers, so there's opportunity for everybody. So, sounds trivial, right? So, let's do it. But actually, if you start going international, you realize there's a lot of problems to solve. And when we started creating this talk, we started having a list of different things to talk about. And in the end, we had like 100 different things you have to take care of when you go international. Some of them are obvious. Languages, currencies, different payment methods, and so on. But some others are not as obvious. For example, culture. And what we did in this presentation was we just tried to come up with a couple of points and explain them and have some that you might not be aware of. So, first one, logistics, shipping, obviously an easy one. We have been in the US in April for Imagine, the Meet-Magento conference, and we got used to American standard shipping durations, which were totally different from what we expected. In Germany, everybody's used to have a product after 1 day, let's say after 2 days. In the US, some persons are used to 9 days because they live somewhere in the middle of nowhere. So you got, as an American, for example, merchant, you have to be aware of that. But even as a Spanish merchant, you want to ship to Germany, you have to find a way to get those logistics. First, the duration has to be low enough, and second, the costs of the shipping has to be low enough. Loss is an obvious thing as well. The European Union did some good things for that. We have a lot of standard laws for Europe. For example, all over Europe, a merchant has to have a 14 days refund policy. But the funny thing about it is, every country has its sole exceptions from that. For example, in France, you don't have to refund alcoholic products. In Germany, you're not supposed to refund tickets, for example. So you have to, check that out. And one thing that is more important in that regard is obviously privacy, which is a much more problematic topic in Europe than in the US, for example. We talk to a lot of marketing gurus of the US, and they say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that for abandoned cart? But sometimes it's simply because we're not allowed to do it. Some products might be prohibited in certain areas, and obviously alcohol is an easy one in this regard. Like, you're not supposed to ship any alcoholic products to the Arabian countries, but there's something that is kind of odd to us Europeans. This product, Kinder Surprise, it's forbidden in the US because small children might choke. And the second thing is there's something like, you may not put something that you put together into something that is put together already. It's kind of weird to understand the law. Okay, so whenever you start doing something like that, you better call somebody who knows about it, and that might not be Saul. Taxes, it's kind of related to laws. This is the same product in three different versions of the Apple Store. The first is the American one, and what we wanted to show in this slide is that they show different types of prices. The first is the American one, and they have net prices. They don't include any taxes. Americans are used to seeing the net price. The second is the UK version. I don't know why it's cheaper than the US one, but it includes the VAT, the value-added taxes, and the right one is the German one, and it includes everything, including the taxes and the shipping prices. That's due to different laws in that countries. And on the other side, whenever you ship to the US now, you have to take care of, you're not supposed to show prices including tax, because people would not buy it because you're more expensive to them, even though it's not right. And then the second thing is this. This is a mess for everybody that ships to any other country in Europe. Those are the different tax rates for European countries. And it's not only that we have different tax rates, it's the amount of tax rates per country is totally different. Like in Ireland, we have 5 different rates. In Germany, we only have 2. And those are just different products. Like normally the first rate is the one that is used for the most of the products, and the latter ones are for certain special prices, special products like books or food. The same thing in Asia. You have in China you have 3, and I think it's Bangladesh or something. It has only 1, so it's kind of hard. And to top that, in the US you have 1 rate per state, and you have dozens of different exceptions, and additionally, you might have a special tax for certain cities in the states. Next problem: currencies. Europe is a nice little island when it comes to currencies because we have a euro now. I really like it coming to Spain, having the same euro as at home. But as soon as you ship to a country that doesn't have the euro, it has a different currency, you have to find a plan how to face that. Obviously, the easiest one would be to just translate your price from euro to that currency. But what happens is two things. First, the prices will end up being weird, odd prices. Like you have something like 41 cents, even though people are used to have 99 or 90 or just zero. And the second thing is, you would have all the risks of exchange rates on your side. So I guess what you want to do is at least add a risk rate for that, like let's say 10% or something. But what most of our customers do, as they grow larger, they have certain prices per currency, which unluckily is not available as a feature in Magento as a default functionality. So in this case, you will have to create a logic that is able to have multiple prices for different currencies. Language, an easy one as well, and obviously translating is one thing, but we have two more things that don't seem that obvious. First is something that we call phonetic accordance, and this is an Israeli company. It's called Wix. Nothing about it yet. It's a website where you can create your own website just by drag and drop, and some WYSIWYG stuff. The funny thing about it is that Wix in German means something like masturbate. So people were kind of annoyed in the first weeks when they came to Germany. They used it for their advantage, and they had a large viral campaign on YouTube where three grandmas were talking to each other, and one telling the other that her son got much more successful since he began to masturbate. And then the other grandma said, "Oh yeah, I started with doing that last week as well. I like it." And then the third one was kind of confused, and they wanted to show her there, and she was like, "Really?" So yeah, they used it to their advantage. One more thing, this car, all over the world, has one name. It's called Pajero. As far as I got informed, Pajero means something different in Spain, and that's why they chose, like after they noticed that Pajero means something different in Spain, they chose a new name, and it's called Montero, as far as I know, in Spain. Yeah. Additionally, language has an influence on design. I think front-end developers know what I'm talking about. For example, let's use this one. This is a football boot in English. In German, it's called Fußballschuhe. I don't know how to call this or this. Botines de football, right? Chaussures de football. French is always a pain in the ass. Then we have the Russian version. And this results in a couple of things. Like this is a main navigation of one of our customers. And it's a fact that languages have different lengths. English by default is one of the shorter versions of Western languages. French is by, like, let's say 95% of the cases, French is the longest version. So you have to make sure that your styling works with that language. And this is an easy version of it. So sometimes the titles of products just gets longer. And that means a whole lot of design has to be redone for certain languages. Then we have the left to right stuff. We have the Chinese letters and so on. So that's quite a big thing as well. Culture is something you don't come up as well in internationalization. This has been in the first version of Magento Demo Store template. And the thing about it is, In all of the Western countries, dogs seem to be very positive, seem to be very sympathetic animals. I don't know if that's true in Spain, but yeah, it is in the US, it is in Germany. And they are very often used as customer service models because they seem to be, yeah, they are animals that listen to you and do whatever you want, and that's why it's good for customer service. But in all the Arabic countries and all the Asian countries, they are known as unclean animals. So you won't want them on your side over there. This as well. I think everybody in this room thinks that is a positive sign. It's the Facebook like. But in some Arabic countries, again, it is understood as a obscene sign. And the next one, for example, means like a lot of different meanings. Like obviously in the diving language, this means everything's all right. I think in the US and Germany and some other countries I know, it means something like everything's good, everything's excellent. In Japan, it means something like let's talk about the money. I don't know why. And in Italy, I think it means something like you're not my best friend. Colors, totally different interpretation of colors. This is black. Black means death or grief in all the Western countries, more or less. Fear in the Arabic countries, but in the Asian countries, it stands for money, power, so it's a very powerful thing. On the other hand, white, the total difference. Innocence, purity, virtue. That's what the bride wears for her wedding because she's supposed to be innocent, I think. On the other hand, in China, all the people on funerals are dressed in white, so totally different interpretation. So whenever you want to create something really powerful in China, you might take colors like red or yellow into your consideration, because those are the most powerful colors in China. Payment, I think we have a couple of payment providers outside, so they might talk about that. From our perspective, there's two more or less global payment providers. That's first of all, it's PayPal, and to show that they had 1.1 billion transaction in 1 quarter of 2015. That's not the revenue, that's the transaction number. So a huge number, and they still gain growth. So they are still growing internationally. The second one is credit cards, MasterCard and Visa. Only those two, because everything else is just local. They are just well known by the persons. But if you have a look at Europe, and unfortunately I couldn't find a good example for Spain, maybe you can add it afterwards. But if you have a look at that, then you have a different, for UK you have the Barclays card, for France you have the Carte Bleue, for the Benelux states you have Ideal, for Denmark you have something, for Italy you have something, and the Turkish guys, they really are a pain in the ass. But that means you have to take care of different payment methods, and that means in Magento you have to take care of different modules for every country you go to. So, what is this talk about? Yeah, I raised a couple of questions, and we thought we should have a kind of summary in the end to give you more knowledge. And we came up with 3 rules. The first one is choose your markets wisely. The wisely is missing here. Do you know this guy? It's Mr. Miyagi out of the Karate Kid movies. What do we mean by that? It's first of all, you can choose the markets by potential. Obviously, whenever you have a product that is huge in China, go for China. If it's not, maybe don't do it. And the second thing is, how much costs do you have to go to that market? Obviously, for a couple of reasons, the European Union is a good choice. Another choice that comes to my mind for Spanish merchants is South America, because of language barriers that are not there, and that they are not as big as on other markets. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, you won't be able to address all of the pitfalls at once. You have to make sure that you pick the most important ones and the ones that are easy for you to solve. So, yeah, and focus on those and make sure you are ready to go for that market. I don't think you are ever ready to with all the pitfalls that are on the way. Whenever you're done with all of them, you recheck the list and you find out there's more. So, and the third one is test the whole customer journey. And this is something we had to learn. The online shop, for example, was all fine. Yeah, we were able to address all of the online shop problems. Like we did the translation stuff, we did the currency, we did a lot of that. But the customers still had problems entering the market because we didn't focus on the whole customer journey, which begins like on Google and goes through the whole journey on the page, but it goes on. Like, for example, you have to make sure the packaging is right. You have to make sure the customer service is right, and so on and so forth. And what we tell our customers is that they have to find persons that test in the right way. Like, don't have insiders test. Don't do the test yourself, because that won't help you. And do actual transactions to really find out the pitfalls from the customers. That said, I want to say thank you, and you can reach me on Twitter or somewhere else. I'll be around, and if you have questions, just ask. I don't know if there's any questions, because I don't see anything. Oh, Mr. Peter Jaap just asked about if we use one payment provider or multiple ones. It depends on the countries. I don't know any payment provider that can solve every country. They can address every country in the world. So mostly it's multiple ones. I mentioned the Turkey example. We have one customer who has like 6 payment providers just for Turkey. And they are all not very well developed. Anything else? Well, yeah, then thank you, and yeah, meet you at the party.